It's just after 11:15. Millions of people are expected to pay less tax on their earnings as a result of today's budget. It's thought the Chancellor will announce a further increase in the personal tax allowance, but the measure could be paid for by closing tax loopholes for the wealthy.
Let's go over to John Sopel, who's in Westminster for us. John.
Simon, thanks very much. Yeah, it's very easy to think that the budget is judged just purely by how people react here in London, SW1. But of course, it's very important to get out and about around the country to see what people need to find there. Let's go, first of all, to Joe Coburn, who is in Stratford for us now. I think at a bicycle factory, Joe.
Yes, very good, John. I am. I'm on the factory floor, in fact, of Pashley Cycles in, as you say, Stratford-Upon-Avon, in the heart of the Midlands. And actually, it's one of just 3 remaining bicycle manufacturers in Britain. They've been making bikes in the area since 1926, and they moved to this premises in the 1960s. Now, the company prides itself on the fact that it sources almost all its components locally. So here, look at this bike, saddles that come from Birmingham and bicycle wheels that come up the road in West Bromwich. Over here, take a look at this, familiar to most people, the Posties bicycle. This was a big contract that the company Pashley had for many, many years, but it was cut a few years ago. You still see people riding around on these bikes delivering the post, but it's not making new bikes or new orders for that particular company. So what did Pashley do? It moved into new markets, into export markets in parts of the world like Australasia. The managing director is Adrian Williams, and I'll be talking to you in just a moment. I'm just going to introduce our other guest, Eleanor Watson, who started up a company 2 years ago, a small company, fairly local too, called Poikos, and we'll come to you in just a second. Adrian Williams, how difficult was it when that contract was lost for providing those bikes?
Well, it was quite difficult, but we also still do the spares for Royal Mail. And what we had to do is adapt and survive. And so what we did is we concentrated on the classic bikes we made. British made is very important to our overseas customers. And so what that's meant is that we've opened a lot of new markets overseas.
How difficult is it, though, to get into those new markets when Pashley as a name is sort of synonymous as a British brand, if you like, you know, with the classic basket at the front?
Well, it is quite difficult, but the thing is, in this day and age, there's a lot of copy bikes out there. So people are looking for individuality and heritage product that's authentic. And so actually people are finding us. Right at the moment, we've got people in South America, new customers coming on board because they're wanting to buy into this British product that's had an 80-year history to it.
What about help from the Chancellor? What would be the one thing you'd like to see?
Well, what I'd like to see from the Chancellor actually is him really putting out positive message, getting a strong message across that to restore consumer confidence and also to support entrepreneurship and British business. All
right, I mean, Eleanor, your company is small, it's got just 2 permanent employees. Tell us first of all about what the company does.
Okay, Poikos is a disruptive innovation house. That means we're basically a technology company. We've developed an advanced computer vision system which can turn a smartphone or webcam into an accurate body imaging system.
So this is really about clothing. So it would take a look at me and say this is the clothing that will fit you online. Is that right?
That's right, essentially.
Yeah. You came up with the idea, did you?
Yes, indeed.
How did you get the money to actually fund the project in the first place?
Well, we were lucky because we got funding from the Technology Strategy Board, and that made a big difference.
What is that exactly? Who's investing?
The Technology Strategy Board is a government initiative to support tech companies which have created something that's highly innovative. So that was instrumental to our success. Also, we've had friends, family and fools helping us out with little bits of cash here and there. And we've also been very lucky with support from reinvestment trusts, and I'd like to see the government support those a bit more.
All right, well, thank you both very much. Let's just get a little bit more analysis from an independent financial advisor, Jane Lane-Petter. What is the biggest concern for your clients?
Well, certainly my clients are looking to prepare for retirement and paying into their pensions, And a big concern at the moment is that the pensions that they can ultimately buy are a lot lower than they've ever been before.
So what advice can you give them at the moment,
Well,
and what can the government do?
Basically, we would be very happy if people are able to earn more without paying tax, because that will also encourage them to save more. And we want really measures that encourages people to save in whichever form. Pension is just one of those forms. But of course, with pensions, tax relief comes, and that is one of the main reasons people do use the pension as a vehicle.
Jane Main-Petter, thank you very much. We'll be here all day in various parts of the factory. We're showing you some new bikes that are coming online, and of course we'll be talking to other local businesses. But until then, back to you, John.
Joe, thanks very much indeed there in Stratford-Upon-Avon. Of course, the Chancellor has lots of different audiences that he's got to please, us, the public, but also the city audience, because, of course, they'll be watching very closely what he says, whether the British economy is being put on the right path, whether the AAA status is going to be maintained as a result of the measures that he's putting in place today in his budget statement. Well, let's go to Susanna Streeter now. She's at Rabobank in the city for us now. Susanna.